friends, it's Christy, and I'm so happy to be back with you on the My Favorite Things YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be making a card using Pandas at Play, Birdie Brown's Pile on the Hugs, and also Birdie Brown's Snow Buddies. So I've stamped the images I'll be using on some neenah Solar White cardstock with Extreme Black Hybrid ink, and I'm going to be coloring with my Copic markers. I'm starting with my pandas and using C1 to lay in some shadow up under their hats and at the bottom edge of their sweaters. And then I'll flick in a little C0 and let that fade into the white. They're so quick and easy to color. It's super fun. Then I'm going to take R83 to color in their noses and give them some rosy cheeks with R81. I will add in the R85, and I'm going to use this combo to color in her hat and also give her a matching sweater. So I'm using that R85 as my darkest. I put a little shadow right above the brim and along the back of the hat, and then blended out with the R83 and filled in with the R81. And then for her sweater, I'm going to put a shadow on the underside of her arms, also underneath the scarf, and on her belly as well, since her arms would be casting a shadow down below. Blending out with the R83 and filling in with the R81 again. And I did color right over that little design, but I'm going to come back and do a little extra detail on that in a bit. First, I'm going to also color in her little hat brim, and I wanted it to be multicolored, so I'm just skipping every fourth little stripe and adding that with the R83. And now I'm coming in with the R89, and I'm just going to quickly color in that little design on both her hat and her sweater. Now, when you do this kind of thing, you definitely want to make sure that the previous colors are dry, otherwise you might have some bleed out. I also colored in some additional stripes on the hat brim with that R89, and later on I will color in her boots with the R89 and R85. For her scarf, I'm using YG61, YG63, and YG67. I'll use that YG67 to add a little darkness to the back of her neck and the front of her throat. And then I also added a bit of darkness to the centers of the parts that are kind of flipped up so that it will look like it's bowed there. And then blend it out with the YG63 and then use the YG61 as my highlight. I'm also going to color in a few more of those stripes using the YG63, and then I'll do the pom-pom on the top of her head as well. I just put the shading on the back left, just like I did with the rest of her sweater and her hat. I'm going to use this green combo to do the little panda on the far right's sweater and hat as well. I wanted these guys to kind of match today, but also be individual. So I'm going to use the same combos over and over, but just in different patterns. So I used that YG67 to lay in some shadow at the bottom of his sweater and then right up under his scarf, and then blended out with the other two shades. And then for him, since he is facing toward the left, I'm going to put his shadows on the right hand side of his hat, just kind of a backwards L shape, and then blending towards the left with the lighter shades. The third panda is going to get a red sweater, so I'm using R24, R29, and R39, and again just shading with that darkest color down underneath the arms and at the bottom edge of the sweater and a little bit under the scarf, and then blending out with the R29, and then I'll use the R24 as the lightest. And then the little hat that is separate is going to be flying off her head, so I'm going to color that to match her sweater as well. And then I'm going to take some of the other shades that I've been using and color in the little stripes on their scarves and hat bands. I'll use BG11 and BG15 to color in the little pom-pom on the panda on the right's hat, and then also to color in his boots. And then I use BG10 for any of the areas that I wanted to be white, the little stripes on the hat and the pom-pom on top of the red hat. I'm also going to use BG10 and BG11 to color in all of the snow. So I started out with the BG10 because I wasn't sure how dark I wanted to go, and I did a couple images with that. But I ended up deciding that I wanted a bit more depth, so I'm going to come in with the BG11 and add a bit of darkness, and then I'll blend that out with the BG10 again. And I'll also bring in the colorless blender to just soften the edge of that, and then I'll do the rest of the snow images off screen. I'm going to bring in a black gel pen and go over the panda's eyes. This just makes them nice and dark and shiny, and also adds a bit of a raised dot, so it just really brings them to life. And then I'll trim these images out with their matching dyes. So to start my scene building, I have die cut 2 snowdrifts, and I'm stamping my sentiment on the bottom one. I'm using the sentiment that says, "You are a flurry of fun," from the Birdie Brown Snow Buddies stamp set. And I ended up changing this out in a little bit because I decided that I wanted a taller snowdrift. So I'm going to re-die cut this and stamp it off screen. But I stamped that down a few times to get a nice dark impression. And then I'm going to pop my card base in my MISTI. And I created that out of a piece of blue raspberry cardstock. It's just an A2 standard size card with a top fold. And I'm going to stamp down one of the little pandas and some snowflakes and the sentiment that says, "You're my favorite snow buddy." That sentiment is also from that Snow Buddies stamp set. The pattern paper that I'm using today is from the Christmas Cheer 6x6 pad, and I'm going to choose this snowflake print as my background, and then I'm also going to choose this pretty stripe. The snowflake print I'm going to use as my sky, so I have trimmed that down to be just slightly smaller than the front of the card, and I'm going to glue that down first. And then I'm going to add my bottom snowdrift with the sentiment. And right here is where I realized that I wanted that to be a bit taller. So I'm going to remove that one, and here we have the new one. It's just a little bit raised up there. It takes up a little bit more of the scene. And then I'm going to tuck the second snowdrift right behind that. I trimmed the striped print down with the A2 rectangle frames, and then I added some very thin strips of foam tape all along the back so I can have a little bit of a raised border that's just going to frame the entire scene here and just add a nice pop of color to the outside edges. So I'm going to line that up so that it's straight with the edges of the card and then press that down into place. And now I can begin to add my images. The first thing I'm going to do is trim off this little scooter that this panda is skating on because I didn't want that to be part of the scene. So I'm just going to cut that off so that you'll never even know that she was riding that. And I'm going to add her so that she is standing behind one of these snowdrifts because we're going to be having a snowball fight in this little scene here. So I'm adhering her down with some liquid glue, and then I'll grab the taller of those snowdrifts and I'm going to put that right down in front of her. So her back leg sticking out there looks like she's winding up to get ready to pitch a snowball at one of these other friends. So I'm going to take the single snowball and tuck that into her hands, and that's going to cover up any of the remaining handle of that scooter and just add to the story of the scene as well. I'm going to use that second snowdrift as a placeholder so that I can position this little guy in the green sweater and have him right where I want him, and then I will glue that snowdrift down over top of him as well. So they both look like they're in motion, and he's going to be the one who is throwing the snowball that has like the little trail going behind it. So I'm going to have that kind of flying from his hand. So I'll adhere that just a little bit away from him so that it looks like it's in motion. And then I've got that bigger snowdrift. I stamped that one down twice. So I'm going to add that up on the second snowdrift back behind that flying snowball. And then I'll have the third little panda sliding down that, just having some fun. And then I've got these two little piles of snowballs. This one here is from the Snow Buddy stamp set. And then the stack of 5 is from Pile on the Hugs. So the only image that is left is the little hat for the panda in the red sweater. So I'm going to add that up into the sky and tip it at an angle so it looks like it's flying off while she's having fun sliding down her little snow pile. And then of course I have to add a little bit of sparkle. So I'm going to bring in some Stardust Stickles. I'm going to add that to the top edge of both of the snowdrifts. And then I'm also going to add it to any of the snow elements, so the snowballs and the snow piles. And then I also decided to add a tiny little dot to the centers of each of the snowflakes in the sky, since they're all made of snow as well. So I'm just going to use the very tip of my nozzle and little pressure to just dot those on all of the ones that have the centers showing. I don't know, I just can't seem to make a Christmas card without a little bit of sparkle on it. Although technically this one is more of a winter card. It doesn't necessarily have to be given for Christmas since the sentiments are more friendship oriented. But anyway, I'll give you another peek at the inside and a look at all of that sparkle and shine. I hope you guys enjoyed the November edition of Christy Gets Crafty with my favorite things. If you did, please be sure to give the video a like and leave me a comment down below. I'd love to read them and chat with you guys. And don't forget to subscribe to My Favorite Things for more inspiring videos just like these here on screen. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.